Welcome to the Dave Palma Show, the podcast that revives, restores, and awakens your innermost capabilities.
You have the training and the talent to succeed, but do you have the guts to fail?
I love what I do. When you love what you do, you want to be the best at it.
Today is about the power of you. You will change the world.
Find your path to success through the journey of those who have succeeded. And now, your host, Dave Palma.
Hi, welcome back to the Dave Palma Show. And with me in this episode, I have an award-winning speaker, business consultant, and an Energy Leadership Index Master Practitioner. She's the author of a new book, The Energy of Success. Power up your productivity, transform your habits, and maximize workplace motivation. Rebecca Ahmed, welcome to the Dave Palma Show.
Thank you so much. Good morning, and thank you for having me.
Pleasure to have you, Rebecca. Pleasure to have you. Obviously, I used to be a trade union rep actually in the fire service as a firefighter, and even when I went in the office side of things in the fire prevention, which is a bit dull for a lot of firefighters, they like the action. So this kind of any area you work in, especially with negative energy and everything, will obviously be of interest to my former colleagues and in any workplace really. I think to really get motivated in the workplace, and interesting to hear about the work you do as well and your new book. Thank you. Yeah, absolutely. So let's ask a few questions. So in your book, The Energy of Success, you make the case that even in a job we find mundane or frustrating, we have the ability to shift our energy and fall back in love with our job. How do you do that?
Yes. So it's really about understanding where you're at, what's motivating you, what's exciting you, what are your values, and how do you really bring that to life? I like to look at it from the sense of placing constructive energy, which is your passion and your vigor to do something, behind those passions, behind those values, so that you can see, oh, I have purpose, and this is what I'm bringing forward, and this is where I'm trying to go.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, in my job, there has been the odd bullies or two and a few other toxic people, and like you get anywhere really. So what prevalent destructive attitudes do people with negative energy bring to their work?
I mean, you've experienced it, right? We've all experienced that negativity, and we're like, ugh, I don't want this. I just want to be able to focus and give my best. And so there's so many things you have to say. Yeah.
Yeah. Especially in a job like, what you're doing in firefighting. So how do you get around this then?
Yeah, that's that high stress, right? So identifying what comes up for you. Or are you getting angry? And then really diving into why is that occurring? Is that because you're taking on someone else's energy, or is that because that's something you're bringing to the table, right? Especially when you're really realizing it's a stressful environment. How can you put processes in place that are more sustainable? How can you ensure you're communicating effectively? So even in a stressful situation, you're looking at it through that lens of collaboration, of curiosity, of building a team versus one against another person.
Right, absolutely. So, I mean, the team's already formed really in my situation, except obviously sometimes when officers, well, hence the word office, they go more in the office-based situation. It might seem a bit mundane to some of them compared to all that action, frontline bit. So how do you really get around that? And
so if you're saying mundane because you're at the office versus the action of getting out there into the field?
Yeah, I mean, some people don't really want to go that side because of that, or if they have gone that side, it's really brought them down, and, it's like, I missed this side of it and things like that,
It's important to understand that, right? So if you're looking for that action, you should place yourself in the action role. Or if you don't want to be in the action, but you have the vision that you want to support the other firefighters and your goal is all the same, right? It's all for safety. It's all for helping other people. Your role is just as important, if not more important, to be that support structure. So understanding your role, making sure you're leading with your values, and we all are on that same team, same alignment of what we're trying to accomplish.
All right. Okay. So in contrast, we'll look at constructive attitudes rather than negative. What constructive attitudes do people bring with positive energy? Do people with positive energy bring?
Yeah, that's that engagement, right? That's it, that excitement, that passion, that drive. And even if you're like, this isn't my end all be all, right? My mission, you know why you're there and you know why you're giving your time and energy to something. And you are aligned with that goal for the hours that you're there. That's what's so important. It doesn't have to be 24/7. It doesn't have to be your life mission, but it does need to be something that you're engaged enough and aligned with your values that you want to place your energy there and be in support of that bigger vision and goal.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. And why is negative energy in workplaces so pervasive? And how do we get stuck in the negative energy patterns?
Think about our day to day, right? Even think about our media. It focuses on this challenges. These are constantly challenges or negativity or some hardship coming up. And so we naturally have been trained to focus on that. And so when you see that and you come in, you're like, oh, this person had a bad day or I had a rough morning. You just naturally, you're like, you start building this wildfire of like, oh, we'll just fester it together, right? And so that's the ability to see, wait a minute, this isn't constructive. If you actually look at it dollar for dollar, this is not serving us. And here's where we need to make that shift, right? Here's where we need to say, we're being destructive. Let's switch to a constructive attitude. Let's engage. Let's motivate.
Yeah, absolutely. And what is the key to breaking out of this destructive level of energy?
Yeah, I think one is understanding. You always have to understand where you're at before you can make a choice of where you want to go. And that's why when I talk about these tools in The Energy of Success, which is my book, we talk about this energy leadership index assessment because you get to see, oh, this is how I'm experiencing the world. And this is why I'm experiencing the world through this lens. Energy works for me and I feel in control of my thoughts, my feelings, and my actions versus feeling out of control with that and that you're just going through your day to day without any type of conscious activity.
Right. I see. So how can organizations promote a motivational workplace culture in which constructive energies flourishes? I mean, yeah, I mean, in my situation, well, not in my situation because I'm now at home doing podcasts and getting into coaching like yourself and things like that. more leisurely kind of lifestyle. But, in my old situation, it'll be some stations might have that problem, some might not, but a culture's a culture, right?
Absolutely. And you need to understand everybody's different. So you need personalized individual development plans. And so what makes you tick, Dave, is going to be what's different than what makes me tick, right? And so leaders, it's so important to ask. And so that you are leading with those values of each individual person and ensuring that you're all aligned for one vision and one mission. Because even if you have different values, you're still working towards that same goal.
Right, absolutely. Well, let's look more into your book, Energy Leadership, and the Energy Leadership Index TM Master Practitioner that you do. You spoke in your book that you do talk about this Leadership Index. And could you tell me more about that first?
Absolutely. So this assessment shares with you the 7 different levels of energy, which I break out into zones because every level of energy has an advantage and a disadvantage. So it really walks you through what are these 7 layers, which my book does as well in quite depth. And then what it does is also shows you how you're experiencing the world. What type of energies are you leading with? Are you experiencing more destructive energy versus constructive energy? And then as a master practitioner, I debrief on how is that helping you? Where is that holding you back? Maybe you lead with service and you love helping other people. When you're a firefighter, as you're sharing, your first goal is to make sure someone else has safety. But where are you not focusing on your own safety first? Where are you not putting in your own energy so that you can provide support to others? So I look at how you're using your energy to make shifts so that you can use your energy more in your control, more to serve you towards your goals versus trying to run uphill or run through mud, which is a lot of times what we're trying to do. And then wondering why am I exhausted? Why am I frustrated? Because your energy is not serving you. And that's what this amazing tool does.
Yeah. I mean, the thing is that obviously the end result in some jobs do get reached. And what we're looking at is energizing people. They'll be energized with the end goal, working as a team. But as someone focused into coming to work and things like that, they might feel like leaving or whatever. That's the sort of thing we're really looking at. I mean,
and it's okay if you do want to leave, but are you pulling everyone else down with that? There's a very finesse to saying, this isn't for me. And that's a beautiful thing to realize that. And I think when we think about the Great Resignation, a lot of people did realize that, but that's very different than saying, I'm going to come to work every day, give my exact, like what I can in alignment with my goals, in alignment with my mission, my 100%. I'm not asking for 150, my 100%. And then when it's time for me to go, I do separate with the organization and make sure we're set up for success. That's very different than saying I'm frustrated, I'm going to take everyone down with me.
Yeah. No, that's right. Well, I see you've got a quote on your website here called, it's a very common saying, you're as strong as your weakest link. And I mean, that was banded about a lot in the military, in the army, in the emergency services as well, and first responders and everything else. It is a very, very common saying, and rightly so. You want the whole team to pull together, don't you, really? Where do you come in on this kind of,
so when I work with organizations and I look with them, like let's say a department as you're sharing, that weakest link, if energy's all being focused on that weakest link versus the goal at hand, how are you accomplishing that goal? Not very effectively, not very efficiently. And so you need to address that energetic challenge, that energetic suck, and say, what is this doing to the team? What is this doing to that individual? And how is that holding us back from accomplishing our goals? And that's where it's really important. If you can't create shifts or that person doesn't want to create shifts, that's okay, but it's time to move on. But if they do want to create shifts, we motivates that person and then align that with the team's goals so that everyone can move forward.
Yeah. Oh, that's fantastic. Oh, see your background actually is in HR, human resources anyway, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, it's actually in casinos and resort chains worldwide. I mean, I did hang about in a few casinos in London, a couple of the nightclubs I used to go to in my 20s, in my heydays, turned into casinos, and it's got a sports bar and actually go and watch the football there. So
yeah, absolutely.
I'm no stranger to casinos, but I don't get hooked on it. I mean, you can dabble, but as long as you don't get addicted or whatever, I'm not that sort of person. But it's quite an interesting world to be working in, isn't it? And especially in the HR.
Yeah, especially in Vegas. I mean, it's a 24-hour city and you've got these monstrosity casino and hotels and they operate as if they're a city, right? 10,000 employees. They're operating. I mean, we've got zoos. We've got all sorts of fun things.
Oh, wow. I mean, Vegas. I mean, you hear all kinds of things. It's.
But look at all of the like beautiful, diverse backgrounds from all over. You get to create these magical, memorable moments with your guests and coming from a place of so much constructive energy to create those magical moments for guests. And the employees, that's what we want to do, right? We're in hospitality for that reason. And so when you think of constructive energy, absolutely someone can get off the plane and check in and be super frustrated because they've had one, busy, crazy travel day, but we can change that in seconds.
Yeah. That's
with
true.
The power of the pause, asking them what they're there for. What are they like? What are they excited to accomplish? What do they want to see? What are they celebrating? That's an immediate energetic shift of, I just had bad travel, but now I'm here to like have fun and to like go see shows and connect and, gamble, whatever it is that they're in Vegas for. So like it becomes this really energizing and fueling place.
Yeah, it's certainly better than the two casinos in London that got changed from the nightclubs I used to really adore as a 20-year-old. But anyway, no, I mean, that's the whole idea. I mean, it doesn't matter where you go on holiday. You want that feeling, don't you? That's the whole idea.
Absolutely.
I mean, obviously everywhere gets tarred with
right. When you're in hospitality, when you're in the hotel space, it is about that constructive energy. And you're, like you said, you don't go on vacation to come back like you need a vacation from your vacation.
You don't want to do that. There have been cases like that. But I think it's probably when they've gone to a nightmare sort of hotel or the weather was overcast for the whole 2 weeks and, there wasn't any beach anymore. I mean, I know Vegas is in a desert, but
hey, we build beaches. We build whatever you want.
Yeah, in the desert. Well, Dubai did it. If Dubai can do it anyway. Well, they didn't build the beach. I think the beach was there, but you know what I mean anyway.
Yes.
But it says that you worked in resorts chains worldwide. So you traveled a bit, have you?
Absolutely. So I worked with Radisson Blu for quite a few years. I was in England. I was in Norway for an entire month. I did like all of their French properties. So a lot of consulting work there to really make sure that their customer service experience was very elevated and it's coming from this constructive energy.
Yeah. This is as an international coach. You was doing
consultant and coach, correct?
Consultant and coach, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
yeah, absolutely.
So tell us about, I mean, how did you get into all this and, what was your background before you got into even the HR thing and everything?
Yeah, so I am the oldest of 11. So as you can imagine, with all the munchkins running around growing up, you learn different personalities quite early. And so I didn't really know HR. Obviously, as I was growing up, you're told all different types of jobs. I have this funny little joke, but my dad's from Pakistan. And so he's a doctor. And so he's like, in the US, there's 3 jobs in his head, right? Doctor, accountant, or an attorney. And so I was like, I don't want to be any of those, Dad. And I kept searching and I came to like the place of, I love working with people. I love understanding people. And as you shared, I'm very well traveled and I've traveled kind of family actually all over the world. And so I got to experience these different cultures. And I was like, oh my goodness, HR or people services is about the people. And so by diving into that and coming from Las Vegas, hospitality was kind of, I think, just naturally in our blood, considering it was such a part of our culture. I really got to experience, talent acquisition and what it means to have conversations and help people create those moments that we create on the customer side in their actual work. And they get to bring that fulfillment to work every single day. And we called it these magical, memorable moments, as I shared. And we led with curiosity to really understand what makes people tick and what makes them excited about being at work. And it's kind of just grown from there. And over the years, I ended up, like you said, opening up my own business in 2020 officially after we did a big M&A. And it's just grown, right? I got my certification in energy and I've just shared this work broadly.
Yeah. It's looking at all the clients you've had so far. It's been a big success for you, really. I mean, there's probably, I guess you've got people working under you and for you, a coaching team with you.
Absolutely. Yes. And thank you. It's been a really exciting journey, but constructive energy is fueling. And so when an organization gets to see it, the bottom line really change and shift because their people are very much engaged and they're energized to be there, they're immediately like, oh my goodness, this speaks for itself, right? And the dollars work.
Yeah. Well, looking at what you was talking about, what makes people tick, and you spoke about your time in Pakistan when you was a kid. I actually seen a story on your website. Actually, it's quite an interesting story that had a lifelong effect on you and leading you to do the work you do now. Really, so it'd be nice if you could maybe share that a little bit more about how that happened. Although there's a snippet on the website, it's good if you can elaborate on that, couldn't it?
Absolutely. Yeah. As you can imagine, probably a 7-year-old from Las Vegas going to Pakistan for the first time with their father.
Oh, you was living in Vegas when you went as a 7-year-old?
I was living in Las Vegas. I was born and raised in Vegas. So it was my first time. I remember being on Pan Am, my first big international flight. I remember the ice cream. I remember the smells. I flew on
Pan Am to New York in 1985, actually. I've got family from the Caribbean that, well, my cousins were born in New York as I'm born in London, but yeah, that kind of thing. Yeah.
Nice.
Anyway,
you remember that flight, right?
Yeah, I remember that flight. There was a load of, I think a plane was on fire in Manchester in the UK, and then they grounded a lot of the Pan Am airlines. I don't know if it was a terrorism thing or whatever. It was a safety thing, but they just put us somewhere and gave us a free meal and things like that. And that's why I remembered it. It was my first time flying to the US. So that's why I remember
this
it.
is my first big memory too. And I just remember the ice cream on that flight, man. I was so happy.
Yeah.
And I'm going with Dad for a month. As a 7-year-old little girl, you're like, I get Dad for a whole month and we're going back to Dad. Aunties and uncles and cousins. I was so excited. So it's different. So many things so different than Las Vegas. And so I remember being in a spice market for the first time. And since I've been a little girl, I've loved very spicy food. And so I was so excited just to go get all the spices and cook with Dad. And I remember the smells. I remember the colors because you have all of these saris. And then I remember seeing someone without legs. And I had never experienced someone without legs. And they were asking for money. And I don't speak Urdu. And so I asked my dad, why is this man on the floor asking for money and why does he not have legs? And so, maybe what happened, he's probably making up a story knowing most fathers at that moment. But my vision and my understanding of Dad, because of just knowing only my dad and my friend's dad, provided for their family. And so I said, how can he provide for his family? And my dad said, he probably can't. That's probably why he's asking for money. And I said, well, how much are legs? I went straight to a curiosity and solution. And I'm knowing my dad, he probably just threw out a number. He said $100. And I said, well, give me $100. We got to get this man working because he needs to be able to support his family. That's all I knew at 7. So that's the lens I'm seeing the world through. But I've shared this with my dad, and we've talked about this series because it's like, you've always looked to really help people from the source of how can they get up and really support themselves, not just putting a Band-Aid on something. And when I do the work that I'm doing, I'm going to that source. I'm going to that energy piece. I'm going to what's making this organization flourish and where is it holding back? Because we need to build sustainable practices. It's not help someone stand up, or how do you help someone grow to build what they want to build? And so as silly as that is at 7 years old, looking at it from a pair of legs, it was looking at it through a lens of how can this person support themselves and those around them? And that's community, right? That's growth. That's family.
It's absolutely community. I mean, it's, neighbors and everything else, everyone helping whenever anything happens is bad. Obviously, I know as a firefighter, you see the sense of community when there's been a disaster. Obviously, I've been in the thick of it on the front line, but everyone else will, when I've been to the major ones, involving, 100 odd people, the community is there to help. Or even if I'm not involved, something happens anywhere, the whole community will just team in and it bonds with people that you never thought would bond together, even.
Isn't that beautiful? That's that constructive energy. Like that is that flow. That is that synergy that you create with other people. And that's the opportunity that we can bring forward in the workplace, in our everyday, that we forget is so strong within us. And like you said, it doesn't take it, tragedy does bring people together, but it doesn't need to be a tragedy. Because it can be a celebration. It can be a day to day. Like there's so many other ways we can bring that forward.
And so in fact, even good things that happens brings people together as well, doesn't it? I remember 100%. Also, actually, the story for me, I suppose, was I was in Canada at the World Police and Fire Games, and I was in a taxi going from Quebec. It was in Quebec. And he said, "You're right up in London." And I thought, "Oh, what?" I was on holiday and I was in the fire service still in 2005. And he said, "Oh, London won the Olympics. They're going to have it in 2012. Oh, yeah, because I'm an ex-athlete as well, ex-track athlete. So I thought, wow, fantastic. Awesome. Got to my friend's house and I was staying at my friend's house in Montreal. So I was getting the bus back, the coach. And then the next morning he said, "Dave, you'd never guess what happened." I thought, yeah, I think I know about it already. Yeah. He said, "No, it's bombs everywhere in London." And, basically it was the 7/7 bombs, which is not as bad as the 7/11, but it's one of our worst terrorist attacks on the underground train, everything, a bus. And I got up and obviously the chief, who I knew quite well as well, was on the TV. And basically, I'm all around Canada. This happened in the area that I lived and worked in. All the buses and trains, I got back and I felt the sense of community and everyone, how they all teamed in, all the flowers left at you call it subways, I think, but anyway, tube stations and train stations. And, people on holiday say, this is a lovely place and blah, 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 but, very sad to see this. And so that's the kind of community where there was actually good news and a taxi driver in, Quebec saying, "Wow, you never heard what happened," and it's celebrating. And then obviously something else happening, and then seeing people from all over the world.
Gather together.
Yeah, because in London, half the people there aren't from London, so. Yeah. Well, when I say originally, my parents are immigrants as well, so.
But we're such a world, think about our world now, and we're so intertwined it's so global. And that's a beautiful thing, is that you can connect with people from across the world and right next door to you, right? Because you're getting their stories, you're smelling their food, you're breaking bread with them. That's the beauty of this global world.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Well, it's great really having you on the show, to talk about the work you do. And obviously mine is more resilience building, and obviously from where I've come from in life, really. So it's kind of, you've been driven with your stories, told you where.
And your energy is driving that resilience, Dave, right? If you don't have the energy to make those shifts and to be resilient, you can't place that forward.
No, absolutely. But, I use that work to try and help prevent, because there's been some suicides in our job and some people that are even closer to me that it's happened to. things like that. So it's really a serious thing. You know, even I've kind of felt the stress as I can't,
100%.
no, but you know, nobody's immune to it all. Do you see what I mean? Everybody's vulnerable to it.
We're human.
We're humans,
You
exactly.
should feel, right?
Yeah, no.
This is not about not feeling. It's
Yeah.
about feeling and honoring it and saying, where do I want to go? Where's my choice?
Yeah, exactly. Well, it's great. It's great conversation I had with you today with all this. Can you just tell our audience a bit more about your work and also where they can find your book and more about the work you do?
Absolutely. So The Energy of Success is being sold wherever books are sold. So Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, of course, any local retailers. Audible book is coming out in September. So that's very exciting. You can learn more about me at www.energeticimpact.com. And of course, I'm on social. So from there, you'll get to see whichever social platforms best resonate with you. And I'd love to connect. So thank you.
You're welcome, Rebecca. But once again, thanks very much for sharing your story and your work with my audience today.
Absolutely, Dave. Thanks for having me.
That's all for this episode. Thanks for listening. And remember, if you want to support what we do, then share, subscribe, and leave a review over on Apple Podcasts. Or head over to my website, davepalmer.com, and click on Rate Show. Well, that's all for now, but I'll see you in the next episode of The Dave Palmer Show.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.